Not everything you experience stays in one place. Some things follow you, quietly. If one of these did, you already know which one. There are more stories like this on my channel. If you're willing to keep watching, subscribe if you think you can handle the next one. I'll see you again, if you're still paying attention. Story 1. The Room Next Door. I wasn't planning on staying long. It was just one night. A cheap hotel near the motorway because I had an early start the next morning. Nothing special. The place looked normal enough. Reception was quiet. The guy behind the desk barely said a word. Just handed me the key. Room 214, he said. I took it. Went upstairs. The hallway felt empty. Not silent. Just that kind of quiet where every sound stands out more than it should. I found my room. Unlocked it. Inside, everything looked standard. Bed. TV. Bathroom. Nothing out of place. I dropped my bag. Sat down. Turned the TV on just for background noise. After a while, I went to shower. That's when I heard it. A sound. From the wall. At first, I thought it was pipes. A faint movement. Then, a knock. Soft. I paused. Waited. Nothing. I shook it off. Got out of the shower. But a few minutes later, it came again. 2 knocks this time. Clear. From the wall beside the bed. I frowned. Probably the room next door. Someone moving around. Normal. I lay down. Tried to ignore it. Then, another knock. Same rhythm. 2 taps. I stayed still. Then it happened again. 2 knocks. Exactly the same. That's when it started to feel off. Not random. Not movement. Pattern. I sat up and tapped the wall back. Just once. There was a pause. Then, 2 knocks. Same rhythm again. My chest tightened slightly. I didn't respond this time. Just listened. Nothing. Silence. I lay back down. Tried to sleep. But I couldn't. Something about it didn't sit right. After a while, I heard something else. Not knocking. Movement. Like someone shifting. Right on the other side of the wall. Close. Too close. Then, a voice. Faint. Hello. I froze. I didn't say anything. The voice came again. Softer. Can you hear me? My chest tightened. I stared at the wall. That wasn't normal. Why would someone be talking through the wall? I didn't respond. Then, a slow scrape. Against the wall. Like something being dragged. Right where my head was. I moved away from it. Heart starting to race now. Then the voice again. Closer this time. You're in the wrong room. My stomach dropped. I stood up immediately. Looked around. Everything in my room was normal. Nothing out of place. What do you mean? I said. Silence. No reply. Just quiet. I stepped closer to the wall. Hello. I said. Nothing. Then, a knock. One this time. Right where my hand was. I stepped back. That feeling again. Something wasn't right. I grabbed my phone. Considered calling reception. But what would I say? There's someone knocking on the wall. It sounded stupid. So I didn't. I just stayed awake. Listening. Waiting. Nothing else happened for a while. Then, at some point, I must have drifted off. Because the next thing I remember was waking up. Still dark outside. The TV still on. And the room completely silent. I sat up. Checked the time. 3:12 a.m. Then I heard it. Not from the wall. From inside the room. A soft knock. I froze. It came from the bathroom. My chest tightened instantly. I stared at the door. Another knock. From inside. Slow. Deliberate. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then, the handle moved. Very slowly. I grabbed my bag. Back toward the door. Opened it. And left. Didn't look back. I went straight to reception. The same guy was there. I told him everything. He just stared at me, then said something that didn't make sense. Room 214 doesn't share a wall. I felt my chest tighten. What? It's at the end, he said. No rooms next to it. I didn't go back up there. I left, drove off, didn't even stay the night, because I don't know who was knocking, or how they were inside that room with me. Story 2. The guest who wasn't booked. I wasn't staying at the hotel. I was working there. It was a small place. Not fancy. Just a late-night reception job to make some extra money. Most nights were quiet. Check-in slowed down after 10. After that, it was just me behind the desk, watching the cameras, answering the occasional call. Nothing ever really happened. Until that one night. It started normal. A couple checked in. Another guy came through around 11. Then it went quiet. Just me, the cameras, and the silence. Around 1:30 a.m., I did what I always do. Checked the booking system. Made sure everything matched. All rooms accounted for. Nothing unusual. Then I looked up at the CCTV. Camera 3. The hallway on the second floor. And I saw him. A man. Standing in the middle of the corridor. Completely still. I frowned. That wasn't unusual on its own. Guests move around. But something about him felt off. He wasn't near a door. Wasn't walking. Just standing there. Facing one of the rooms. I leaned closer to the screen. He didn't move. Not even slightly. I checked the time. 1:42 a.m. I waited a few seconds. Still nothing. No movement. Then slowly, he turned his head. Not toward the room. Toward the camera. My chest tightened. It felt like he was looking straight at me. Through the screen. I grabbed the radio. Is anyone on the second floor? I said. No response. Of course there wasn't. I was alone that night. I looked back at the screen. He was gone. Just gone. Like he'd never been there. I stood up, debating whether to check. Part of me didn't want to, but I had to. If someone was wandering around, it was my job to deal with it. I grabbed the spare keycard, walked toward the stairs. The building felt heavier at night. Every step louder, every shadow deeper. I reached the second floor. The hallway was empty, exactly like the camera now showed. I walked slowly down it, checking each door. All closed, all quiet, nothing. I let out a breath, turned around, started heading back. Then I heard it, a soft click. Behind me. I stopped, turned slowly. One of the doors was open, just slightly. Room 217. I was sure it had been closed. I stepped closer. Hello. I called out. No response. I pushed the door open. Inside, the room was empty. No luggage. No signs anyone was staying there. The bed untouched. Everything perfectly clean. My chest tightened. That room wasn't even booked. I checked it earlier myself. I stepped back out, closed the door, locked it, walked quickly back downstairs. Something didn't feel right anymore. I went straight to the system, pulled up room 217. Still empty. No booking. No record. Nothing. I stared at the screen, trying to make sense of it. Then I looked up, at the CCTV again. Camera 3. And my stomach dropped. The man was back, standing in the hallway again. But this time, he was closer, standing right outside room 217, facing the door, completely still. I froze. Then slowly, he turned and looked straight into the camera again. My chest tightened, because this time, I could see his face, and I recognized it. It was the same man who checked in earlier, the one who gave his name at reception, the one I watched walk to his room. Room 203. I immediately checked the system. Room 203 was still active, still booked, still showing as occupied. I looked back at the camera. He was still there, standing outside 217, not moving. Then, the door opened, slowly. From the inside, I leaned closer, trying to see, but the room was dark, too dark. Then he stepped inside, and the door closed behind him. I didn't go back upstairs, didn't check that room again. I stayed behind the desk, watching the cameras, waiting. Nothing else happened. No movement, no sign of him. When my shift ended, I checked room 203, just to be sure. I knocked. No answer. Used the keycard. Opened the door. Inside, the room was empty. No luggage. No signs anyone had stayed there. Nothing. I checked the system again. Room 203 was no longer listed. No booking. No record. Like it never existed. I quit that job the next day, because I don't know who that man was, or why he was staying in a room that wasn't there. Story 3. Someone was inside my room. I noticed it on the second day. At first, it was small, easy to ignore. I'd left my bag on the chair before going out. When I came back, it was on the bed. Not thrown, not messy, just placed there, neatly. I paused for a second, tried to remember if I'd moved it myself. Maybe I had. I'd been rushing earlier, so I didn't think much of it. I just moved it back, sat down, forgot about it, until later that night. I went into the bathroom. When I came out, the TV was on. I was sure I hadn't turned it on. I stood there, staring at it. The volume was low, just enough to hear something. I picked up the remote, turned it off. That uneasy feeling crept in. But again, I told myself it was nothing. Maybe I pressed something by accident. That's what I kept telling myself. The next day, it happened again. I left the room in the afternoon, came back an hour later. The curtains were open, fully open. I never leave them like that, especially not in a hotel. I always keep them closed. I stood there for a moment, looking around. Everything else looked normal. Nothing missing, nothing broken, but something felt off, like the room wasn't the same. That night, I did something different. I tested it. Before leaving, I placed things very specifically. My bag on the chair, shoes by the door, remote on the table, curtains fully closed. Then I left, only for about 20 minutes. Didn't go far, just enough. When I came back, I stopped at the door. Something felt wrong immediately. I hadn't even gone inside yet. I just knew. I unlocked it slowly, pushed it open, and looked around. The bag was still there, shoes still by the door, remote still on the table. Nothing had moved. I let out a breath. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe it really was nothing. I stepped inside, closed the door. Then I noticed something. The bathroom light was on. I was sure I turned it off. My chest tightened. I walked toward it slowly, every step careful. I reached the door, paused, then pushed it open. Empty. No one there. I checked properly. Shower. Behind the door. Nothing. I stepped back, tried to calm myself down. Then I heard it. A soft sound. From behind me. In the room. I turned quickly. Nothing. Everything exactly where it was. But that feeling, it was stronger now. Like I wasn't alone anymore. I grabbed my phone, considered leaving, but I didn't want to overreact. So I stayed, locked the door, sat on the bed, tried to distract myself. Minutes passed. Then, a faint click. From the door, my chest tightened instantly. I looked over. The handle moved slightly, like someone was testing it. From the outside, I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then it stopped. Silence. I stayed there, waiting, Nothing. Eventually, I got up, walked slowly toward the door, looked through the peephole. No one there. The hallway was empty. I stood there for a second, then turned back, and that's when I saw it. The wardrobe door was open. I froze. I was sure it had been closed, fully closed. I stared at it. The inside was dark, too dark, like the light wasn't reaching it properly. My heart was racing now. I took a step back. Then, something moved. Inside, just slightly. I didn't think. I grabbed my bag, ran to the door, opened it, and left. Didn't look back. Went straight to reception. Told them everything. They checked the system, then looked at me, confused. No one has access to your room, they said. I shook my head. Someone was inside. They insisted. No one entered. They even checked the logs. Keycard records. Nothing. No entry. No exit. Just me. I didn't go back up. I left that night, and I've never stayed in a hotel alone since, because I don't think someone was getting in. I think they were already there. Not everything you experience stays in one place. Some things follow you, quietly. If one of these did, you already know which one. There are more stories like this on my channel. If you're willing to keep watching, subscribe if you think you can handle the next one. I'll see you again, if you're still paying attention.